is Jackie with Pocket of Preschool, and I'm coming to you live tonight or on the replay, depending when you're watching. And tonight we are talking all about kid-made gifts you can make in your classroom and not stress out to death, and yeah, survive the kid-made presents. But yeah, and having like family events in your classroom. So like for example, on Friday, we are gonna have donuts with Dad because we are not in session over the summer. So we do donuts with Dad in April, and then we do muffins with Mom in May, which makes for extra fun, right? Because then we get two events and 2 months in a row, and we do Grandparents' Day in September as well. So yeah, so we do all kinds of fun family events. Plus, some of these ideas you can use for Christmas presents too when it comes to that. So thanks everybody for joining me. So basically tonight I'm gonna share with you all my tips and tricks for making kid-made presents in the classroom easier, less stressful, and cheap. So you're not breaking the bank. And yeah, so, and these are a lot of the things that I do in my classroom, and I use them over and over every year. And I've done this with 27. So when I taught full day, sometimes I could have 27 kids in my roster. So imagine making 27 presents, it's a lot. And now that I only have to have 8 kids, these seem like simple. So yeah, so this works for if you have a giant class or a small class. All right, so we're gonna jump right in. First thing, I wanna tell you about gift wrap. So I always have the kids help me wrap. So I'm not like, you know, the night before wrapping all the things. And I use just paper bags from the dollar store, or if I remember to buy them at Target, they have white ones at Target for cheap, and they just use dot markers on them, or they can draw that on them, or they can put like foam stickers on them, kind of whatever you have in the classroom. And then I always have little name tags they can put on them, and I literally just staple them, like not super fancy. And I let them cut them out too. So sometimes they're a little bit jagged, but they're kid-made, and that's what parents want. They don't want, I mean, they do love it if you would wrap them, but this will pull at their heartstrings so much. And they'll probably even keep the bags and the little tags. And typically I just stuff tissue paper or have the kids stuff tissue paper in the top, but we're not done wrapping yet. Because some of our things are still drying and I have to finish them. So yeah, so for gift wrap, whatever you make, just put it in a paper bag and then you can send it home. And if you need to put a little bit of bubble wrap in, I usually get my bubble wrap at the dollar store or the Dollar Tree, and that way if it's like a breakable thing, hopefully it won't break on the way home. So yeah, so that's gift wrap made easy. Super simple, kid made, awesome, and the parents love it, and it looks really pretty too if you put it on a table. And what I will do with these is, so we have donuts with Dad, like I said, on Friday. So I'll show you the table we have set up over here. So I have 2 tables, the one I'm at and then this one. And you can see on the table, we covered it with butcher paper, and then they drew on their spot. And then I have dollar store vases with little gems in the bottom so they don't fall over, and just some fake flowers. So yeah, so those are my tried and true decorations. And I love using the butcher paper if you have it. If not, you can use plastic tablecloths from the dollar store. But this way when they come in, they know where to sit. And they have their spot, and they're very, very excited on these days, right? Like they're like, oh my gosh, it's donuts with Dad, or muffins with Mom, or Grandparents' Day, and they like rush in, and they're all excited and hyped up, and this way they come in and they know where to go. So it kind of already sets a little bit of calm in of the chaos because they know where to go sit. So, and what I'll have is I'll have these out at their spots on the table. Or if I want to do it at the end, I'll put them away and kind of back at a table. They look really pretty too if they're all on a table together. But yeah, so you can do either one. You can have them out, or you can just have them like hidden away if you want to like save it and do it at the end. It's totally up to you, whatever works. So I actually splurged last year and I bought just a couple rolls of butcher paper because it's expensive, but it's gonna last me like years. So I bought like blue, I think I only bought like 4 colors. And so hopefully those will work for me for all the things. And I use a lot of butcher paper for dramatic play, and I use them for, I cover up the table and make math mats with them too. So yeah, so If you have butcher paper, it's really, it's helpful. Just buy one roll, or you can just buy a roll of white too, that works. Or sometimes if you go to Sam's or Costco, they'll have white butcher paper, so you don't have to go to the teacher store or anything like that, because it is expensive. The shipping's just as expensive as the getting the butcher paper, but if your school has it, that's awesome. But I did splurge last year and I got 4 rolls. So I just have it at my house. My kids also decorated, so they're obsessed with decorating this year, and it's great fine motor. So let me kind of scan the room and show you our beautiful decorations. So I just buy streamers from the dollar store. Oh, can you see it? So, I don't know if you can see it all, but do you see it on that column? They literally just like cut streamers and they work together as a team, so it's a great teamwork activity. And they just hang them, and if they can't reach them, I lift them up, because I just lift them up really quick, and then they tape it up higher, or we get a safe stool and they can tape it up a little bit higher. But it's great fine motor and great teamwork, and it's great scissor skills. And I just buy the streamers at the dollar store too, and because they're very excited on these events, so why not use it as a cutting activity? Because let me tell you what, they were very excited to cut and put up these streamers and do some teamwork to decorate the classroom for Donuts with Dad. They're very, very excited. So yeah. And then another for decorations, we didn't do these. We did these, I think, for Grandparents' Day this year, and I kept some. But so these are flowers kids made. So it's literally, they took a piece of green paper, and they did this in the art center, so it wasn't like anything extra I did. They did this all independently. It was like the art center for the week. So they just took a green piece of paper and they rolled it up and they taped it, a lot of tape. And then, let me see if I can pull one out. This one looks like. So then they just they took, cut a strip, or you can cut the strip, and then they fringe the top, which is great for those 3-year-olds, right? And then they roll it. And believe it or not, I had a kiddo do this by himself, and he totally initiated all of it. Oh, okay. And then they just stick it in. So you can tell how cute are those? And we had these in real vases out for Grandparents' Day, and they were so cute. And then I kept some, because they're just too cute, right? I have them in my office, and they think it's really cool that I have their flowers in my office. So, but if you don't have time to make the flowers, again, dollar store vases, glass gems, so the vases don't fall over, and they're just 2 things of fake flowers I put together. And I have a set of blue ones, and then I have a set of pink ones I use too, just for different stuff. So yeah, and then for I'll cover food and then really quick, and then we'll go to the gift part. But I just use throwaway plates. Super simple. I literally just go buy a pack, and we're good to go on that. And I usually buy it all at the beginning of the year. That way I'll buy stuff for Grandparents' Day, Mother's Day, and Father's Day all at once, because if you wait until the week of Mother's Day, all the pink and purple plates are gone. Because I'm sure, none of us ever wait till the last minute. So I have all of it for the whole year. So whenever it's Grandparents' Day, I buy all of it, and that way I know I have it for the rest of the year, or for all the other events. So now let's move on to presents. So my favorite, hands down, favorite present to make are these beautiful glass jars. They're my favorite. I've had parents tell me in the past, because some parents, because I do preschool, it's a 2-year classroom, so they'll be with me for 2 years sometimes, and sometimes I'll get their little brother. So some families I'll have for 4 years, because I'll have a sibling, and they always say these are their favorite presents, and these are dollar store vases, and they just paint them. But look how pretty, so pretty. And so I always have, because you always have to buy a couple extra vases, right, in case you drop one or something. So I'll have a kiddo just say, hey, can you make one for our classroom? So here's just some that the kiddos have made me over the year. And you can tell, this one I have is a candy jar in my office. So this one, a pre-K kiddo did, rainbows and balloons. And then this one, a 3-year-old did, so it's just beautifully painted. And then this one, it's actually from forever ago. And I used it as my pen jar by my sign-in sheet, and she made little flowers. But yeah, So these are like really fun. And so my big trick with these is, again, don't wait until the week of or the week before, because a lot of the glass jars will be gone. And you can always do like a candle holder or something. And you can do, if you're on a budget and you like, or maybe you have like half day and you have like 2 sets of kids, and you don't have like $1 to spend on every kid, or maybe you even have 3 classes and you have like 75 kids, hopefully not, but it happens. Use the itty bitty tiny ones, like the votives, and you can use these. These are usually like 2 for $1 at like Hobby Lobby and stuff. You can get them on sale pretty cheap at Hobby Lobby, but use these. So how I make these, you don't have to prep them or anything. Oh, and somebody's asking, they're painted on the outside, so they're only painted on the outside. I usually, this one doesn't have a name because this was my extra one somebody made me. I usually write their names on the bottom in the year. And then for paint, I have the paint to show you guys. I'm surrounded by stuff again. So the paint I use is this like acrylic paint, and I have so much because I've got it really cheap on at Michael's like a month or 2 ago, or maybe around Christmas. So it was really cheap. So I bought a whole bunch. Normally it's like, this thing's like half full. But yeah, I got it super cheap. And it's usually on sale. And it's the cheap acrylic paint from Michael's. It's not like the nice fancy kind. But yeah, so it's just the cheap acrylic paint from Michael's. And then I do keep paintbrushes in here because if I forget to wash them right away, like they get gross and it kind of hurts my paintbrushes. So I keep my paintbrushes in here too. That way I'm only like using my acrylic brushes on my acrylic paints. And I use like a tiny brush that way, because acrylic paint is permanent. So that way when they're painting, I drop everything, you guys know. That way when they're painting, they're only dipping a little bit of paint and it's not like flipping out, or it's not like dripping, and it'll still drip, but it won't drip as much because the brush is smaller. And you can wash your brushes right away and they won't get burned, but it never happens. Like we'll like transition, and then I usually wash them like during lunch, or when I taught full day, we'd wash them during lunch or when we had time, but it was never like right after the activity, so they would get a little gunky, but it's fine. So yes, that's the paint I use, acrylic paint, and I don't spray anything on them or anything. Like it's just like that. And then like I said, this one, I mean, I've had this one maybe like, gosh, I want to say this one's like maybe like 10 years old, and it's a little scratched, but again, it holds my pens by my sign-in sheet. So you don't have to like cover it. You can put Mod Podge on it if you want to make it like a shiny coat on the outside, but you don't have to. And let me tell you my trick with paint. So I use cupcake containers. Ooh, somebody said soak paintbrushes in hair conditioner to get paint out. Ooh, I'm gonna have to try that one. Ooh, that is a super idea. Oh, and then someone else said, sorry, the comments are going quick, to put like a rubber mat, a rubber kitchen mat underneath the vase so it doesn't slip around while they're painting. That is another great tip. Good thinking, guys. See, 2 heads and 4 heads and 1,000,000 heads and 300 heads, however many of us watching are better than one. So if you have ideas and tips and tricks, please put them in the comments. So I did an activity, one of the crafts with my kiddos right before this, so I could show you. But so what I do with my acrylic paints, because when I taught half day, some of my kids didn't come every day, so I didn't want to like throw away all my paints and waste them. So I would keep them in these cupcake containers, and I wouldn't keep the brushes in. I'd wash the brushes every night, but I would use one for every color, and then I would just close it at night. That way and it would get a little bit dry around the edges, but it wouldn't get that bad where I could use it the next day. And I wouldn't obviously fill it to the top. Like I would just put it just enough in for us to use that day. And then I could, put a little bit more in the next day we were working on it. I use these foam brushes for something else I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, so I just put one color in each one, and then I use one brush in each one. And I like the cupcake containers because the brushes sit well in them and they don't like flap out. And since it's permanent, I don't really want the brushes like flapping out and like flicking in people's clothes, because we all know, even though we tell all the families don't send their kids in their Sunday best, they still do, right? And then they get mad when their clothes are stained. And then we just smile and say, sorry, we have fun at preschool. But yeah, so hopefully not anyways, but most of my parents are understanding, but it happens, right? So yeah, so just use these cupcake containers. And then my favorite part about it is when you're done with your gift, I just throw this whole thing away. That way, I don't have to wash permanent paint, and I don't have to flick it on my clothes. Because y'all, I'm a mess when I clean up. Like, I get paint everywhere, or I'll be, we were cleaning and we're talking to the kids, or we're cleaning and we're doing this, like multitasking, and I always get like paint on me. So that way I can just throw this away and I don't have to clean it. So, and I'm not like getting an extra container because it's just a cupcake container anyways. And then it's just a good reason to buy cupcakes, right? So yeah, and sometimes if like the lid doesn't close well, I'll just cut the lid off and then I cover it with saran wrap too. That works as well. And then, so let me show you the, so yeah, so if you guys have any other questions about the acrylic paint, oh, Jessica said, rubbing alcohol works great to take acrylic paint out of clothes. Kimberly says applesauce cups work great for glue too, if you're wondering. So thanks. So another thing you can paint, besides these little beautiful glass vases from the dollar store, are little pots. And you guys, can you tell I've done like presents forever because I have like random like containers from leftover ones. So yeah, so just buy the pots. And again, don't go 2 weeks before because they'll be all gone. Just go now and get your vases or your pots or whatever. But yeah, use the same paint. And they can just paint. And it doesn't have to be Pinterest like pots. Like it can be like beautiful open-ended art on a pot, or they can make a design. It doesn't have to be like a handprint or a footprint or the finger flowers. If you want to do that, that's awesome, but you don't have to. Like you can just literally paint the pot and the mom and dad will be just as happy. And then if you want, you can put a flower in it. So yeah, so we had these upstairs from when I was working on my plant unit. So yeah, obviously I would put the plant in there, but these are ones I just had on hand so you could get a visual. So yeah, so you can use pots, you can use little votives, you can use bigger vases. And then the project I was working on, this was something I showed you guys when I did a Facebook Live about Christmas ideas. So these are my new favorite present, and they're super simple to do, and I love them as a mom, so I'm sure all the other moms love them too. They're just, I have a package, so I wanted to make sure you guys had the right ones. So they come in a package of 6 from Walmart. They are bar mop towels, package of 6. And I can't remember how much they were. Maybe like $5. They're less than $1 a towel. So they're not super expensive because you're not going to break the bank on these. Now, these do sell out. Again, just like the pots and the vases and everything, these sell out. So if you want these, get them now. So yeah, but yeah, so bar mop towels, and they're just the Walmart brand. And I can't find them at Target, so Walmart has them. Look, I literally keep them on hand now, just so I have them in case I want to do a random present. But what I do is I open it up and then I fold a piece of paper in half and put it on the inside. And then whatever your favorite handprint craft is, do that, or a handprint card or whatever, do that on the towel. And then it's like the cutest little towel for mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or Christmas. And you can do them like for anything. I did some for Turkey Day this year that were super cute with the little handprint turkeys on them. Those were super cute. Somebody's saying burp cloths are cute. I just did this with my kids so I could show you. But my trick is, because I don't know if this happens to you, but so I use foam brushes when I paint their hands. And then you put it on and you can see like brush marks. Does that ever happen to you? Okay. So what I do, and this is still wet, this is my kids. So what I do is I go back in and I just kind of cover up those little like brush strokes and I make sure it's nicely coated. and I go back in. And I kind of fill it in. That way there's not those brush strokes. And then I'll do it, and then they use their thumbs for these. And then again, if I see a little spot, I'll kind of go back in and fix it. And I just painted that on too. And then I'll write their name on the bottom of the paper top, or the paper, and then once they're dry, I'll write their name either on the corner or on the tag. So that some of us are saying, these are like $5.50 for 6. So yeah, so just under $1 a towel. So yeah, probably $1 a towel once you do tax. So yeah, but you can do, so take your favorite handprint craft and put it on a towel. Like super simple, and they're super cute. And you wash them, just throw them in the washer. Like, cause it's permanent paint, it won't stain anything. You can also do washcloths too. I did washcloths a long time ago, and I still have it because I had all the kids put their handprint on it. Well, I had like 4 because I had, like 25 kids on my roster. So yeah, and yes, this is acrylic paint too. So it's this paint and this paint are all the same. So it's just that acrylic paint. So now do you guys see why I bought like so much? So yeah, so it's just this. It's just all this acrylic paint. It's just the cheap acrylic paint from Michael's. And if you watch, it goes on sale sometimes for like 2 or 4 sometimes. That's why I have so much. It was like 4 for $1 or something. And then you can use your teacher card. So yeah. So somebody had the idea of doing the oven mitts, and I had that idea too. I mean, we all do that one, right? So you can get these at the dollar store. Yep, we've done these before because I have extras, right? So you can do your favorite handprint craft, again, just on a pot holder. And these are, if these come 2 for $1, just watch for the good colors. You can tell we have like mauves and light blues, so it's probably like spring colors for these. And then just use, again, the acrylic paint. So just plop those on there, write their name on the back or on the tag, and you're good to go. So, gotta love handprint crafts, right? And again, just acrylic paint. So if you don't want to do a handprint craft, here are some other ideas. So these we did for Grandparents' Day this year. These are just like those little wooden like shapes or figures. Oh, and another trick when you're doing a handprint craft, I keep a bag of baby wipes next to me. So after they do their handprint, I give them a baby wipe, they clean it off once, and then I take that baby wipe and they clean it off again, and then they go to the bathroom. That way they're not walking around your classroom with permanent paint on their hand and they don't get the wall. So yeah, just have a package of baby wipes next to you. So back to the magnets. So if you want a super cheap present that's super easy, just get these. These are from Walmart, or Michael's has them too. We did these for a Grandparents' Day gift because some of my families are divorced and some of them had like grandparents from both sides coming. So I like figured out like some kids needed to make 4 gifts. So what we did, some kids needed to make 4 presents, which is fine. So I just did these cheap magnets. So they're again just the wood shapes, and they just painted them again with the acrylic paint, and I just put a magnet sticker on the back and wrote their name, and then good to go. And then of course I had my own kids in my class this year, so I had him make me one. So for Donuts with Dad, we made these cutie patootie thumbprint magnets. How cute are those? I was gonna put like a cute saying like "Thumb Buddy loves you" on it, but it just didn't happen because life. You know, we always have good, they still turned out super cute though. You guys, look how cute those are. So all I did, so I took this, and these are the first year I made these. It was just some random thought I had. So this is Bake Shop clay from Walmart. And so it comes, there's like 4 little sections. So they had one little section and they rolled it into a ball. And some of the kids needed a little bit of help rolling it into a ball because it's kind of a little bit stiffer clay. And then they pushed their thumb in, and I wrote their name on the back. And then you bake it for like 15 minutes. So, just so you know, one of these is I think like $1. It's cheaper at Walmart for sure than Michael's, this little Bake Shop clay. So it's like, I think $1 at Michael's and maybe like less than $1 at Walmart. Because I just bought some. So it comes, so 4 kids, you'll get 4 kids out of, or 4 magnets out of one little thing. And then they roll it into a ball, and then they smash their thumb in, and then you bake it in the oven, and then for like 15 minutes, then it's hard as a rock. Perfect, right? And then today they painted it with Mod Podge, and we used the shiny, the glossy Mod Podge. And then they sprinkled some glitter on, and then look, and I just hot glued a magnet on the back because for some reason the magnets weren't sticking. So you guys, how cute are those? And they got their little thumbs in it. Because I think Father's Day or Dad's Day presents are a little bit harder because moms can use like towels and things like that. So these are super cute little magnets for Dad's Day. And I'm sure you guys, one of my kiddo made this for me. I'm sure you guys saw the Facebook video that went like viral, like what was it, like a couple years ago? But you can do the Shrinky Dink handprint. Handprint or Shrinky Dink keychains. You can have them make a picture. However, I have never done these myself. This is one I got from my own kiddo from his teacher in his class. I'm always afraid doing Shrinky Dinks because sometimes, you guys, I don't have the best luck when I do stuff like that. So if you're brave, just go on Pinterest and look up Shrinky Dink handprints and you can find a good one or a good directions. I'm not going to give you directions because I haven't done these firsthand. I only tell you guys things that I've tried and that have worked. So yeah. Oh, and then somebody's asking about this in the oven. So it tells you, oh, it says do not microwave. Good to know. Do not microwave, do not over bake. It says it on here. Oh, where does it say it? Oh, here it is. You bake it at 275, 15 minutes for a 1/4 an inch thick. So I just did 15 minutes. And it's a little bit thicker than a 1/4 an inch. But I just did 15 minutes in the oven at 275, and it says it right on here, and they are good to go. But they turned out so cute, just something different. I get tired of making the same things every year. So we'll just plop those in their little bags. And then you can also, I'll show you what else were made with them this year. So we did these Your Great little footprint lions. How cute are these? Oh my gosh. So I just, oh, I forgot to tell you. So in the top of this post, I have family event packs in my TPT store. I have a Grandparents' Day, a Dad's Day, Grandparents' Day, Muffins with Mom, and Donuts with Dad, packs in my store. So there's like invitations and crafts and, books, which I'll show you in a minute, all in there, and banners and everything. So if you want to, like, all the printables for your ideas and like the tablecloth ideas in there, go to the top of this post and you can grab it from TPT, and this printable's in there too. But so for Donuts with Dad, they're getting this You're Great, and they're getting a thumbprint magnet and then a little book. They made them, so that's what they're getting in their little bags for Donuts with Dad. So my trick, at least to doing footprints, is so they did their footprint, and then today they went back and they painted it. And I think doing footprints and handprints are okay as long as you make sure the kids are doing some of the outside part, unless they're itty bitty, right? But yeah, but look at these, you guys. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. And I need to obviously like put these on green paper, and then I'm gonna laminate them. But, so yeah, so super cute. But yeah, so what I do for feet, kind of the same. So they put their foot on the paper, and then next to it, I have a little tray with water in it, and I just have them put their foot in the water. You can't see it down there. So we'll pretend like this is the floor. So they'll put their foot in the water, and then I have a towel. You can tell it was from our lion footprints. They'll put it in the little, and I don't have that much water, like this much, so that way if they stomp it in there, it doesn't go everywhere. So just put it in there a little bit, and then they rub off their foot here, and then I give them a baby wipe, and that's as good as it gets. And then hopefully they take a bath, or the next night they can take a bath. And then they do a book. So I always try and do some kind of book or like writing piece about like why they excuse me, my allergies. Why they love their dad. So this one is in the Donuts with Dad pack that I have on TPT, but it's I Love My Dad Because, and this one's a 3-year-old. And so when we do journals every day from January till the end of the year. And so we do these in place of journals. Before Donuts with Dad and before Muffins with Mom, we'll do these instead of journals. So it's something that we're doing anyway. So we just kind of put these in place of it. So it says like, I love my dad because And this one says, he lets me on the bobcat all day long. Oh my gosh. And then he feeds the birds. And this one they don't have to be like super long. You'd only need 2 pages. And there's always like a survey, because those are hilarious, right? Like my dad is 58, or they'll be like my dad is 4, you know, stuff like that. But also, if you grab the Donuts with Dad pack, there's also like a bunting banner that I'll hang up, and the little gift tags are in there. And if you make cards, there's also Mother's Day, that's in the wrong pile. But there's also like little dad cards if you want them to make an uncle. And there are, I love my grandpa because, I love my uncle because, I love, I think it's someone special maybe. But there are other wordings than just dad. I love my brother because I think it's in there. So yeah, that way, in case they have a different family dynamic, they are covered too. And then this craft is also in there. Whoops. Hands down, you're the best dad. That's in there too. So yeah, so that's the Donuts with Dad pack. In the Muffins with Mom, there is a Muffins with Mom book instead of like a Donuts with Dad, but it's the same thing. It's a circle shape. But there's also the Thanks for Helping Me Grow little card, you know, that everybody does. This is a sample I made. And then the handprint crafts are Your Love Helps Me Bloom with the little paper hand cutout. And then a cute little poem is in there as well. And then again, the bunting banner and all of that stuff. And you can tell, you guys, these are like my files that I use. Like, cause it has like a Muffins with Mom invitation in there. Like, here's my bunting banner ribbon. Like, it literally all gets stuffed in here. Oh, and I'll tell you a trick. So when you're doing like the Muffins with Mom and the Donuts with Dad book, when the kids are making it, I give it to them like this. I don't cut it out yet. And why is because sometimes that edge of the paper like bothers, and it hasn't bothered a lot of my kiddos, but it's bothered some of my kiddos, and like when they're writing and it like curls up and stuff, it just annoys them for some reason. So I'll always just staple it in the corner, and then once their book's complete, then I'll cut it out and put it together. And I just cut it out around the edge, so it's not super close. Like I literally staple it and then cut it out around, so it's not perfect or anything. Because, you know, life isn't perfect. Oh my gosh, you guys. And the dads usually don't cry, but when the moms read the I Love My Mom Because book, like, oh yeah, tears, for sure tears, and it's happy tears, of course, but yeah, for sure tears. It melts their heart for sure. And then in the Grandparents' Day pack, there's a card. There's 2 crafts you can pick from. Thumb Buddy Loves You. And you can do this one during Grandparents' Day, especially if they have more than one Grandparents' Day come, or one grandparent come. You can put these out, and then they can do 2 or 3, however many grandparents you have. And then there's this book, the top 5, and there's top 3, I think, 2 reasons why I love you. So yeah, so then they can do that. And then there is a survey at the back you can do too. And if they have more than one grandparent come, I just copy it, like color copy it with my HP Instant Ink printer I have. Yeah, I just copy it. And then that way the kiddo doesn't have to make a million of them. And then there's Grandparents' Day bingo in there too that we play during it. And then the invitations and bunting banner, all the things in there. And there's 2 ways you can do the bunting banner. You can have the kiddos cut it out and color it, or you can just print it on colored paper and hang it up that way too. It's totally up to you, whatever works for you. Checking the time. So I have a couple more ideas for presents. I wanted to show you what we did last year for Muffins with Mom and Donuts with Dad. So last year I got canvases really, really cheap from Michael's. And if you watch around Mother's Day or around Father's Day, they usually start marking the canvases down on sale, and that way, because they know all the preschool teachers and all the kinder teachers and all the toddler teachers and infant teachers are all making gifts for Mom and Dad, or maybe Grandma and Grandpa or 2. So what we did was they each got to make, so for Donuts with Dad, and it's kind of like a directed drawing, but they just made it however they wanted. So they drew Dad in a black Sharpie, and then they colored him in with, and I just used, this is with washable paint on here, and it's fine. But you could use acrylic if you wanted on here. So they just drew it in black Sharpie, and then they got to decorate around it. So this was for Donuts with Dad, and then for our Muffins with Mom present last year, we did the canvases, and we did Mom. So, like, my kiddo is in my class. So, and on the Donuts with Dad one, he drew him and his dad, which, you know what, that's totally fine too. So now I have one from Muffins with Mom, one from Donuts with Dad, and they can hang them up together, or if they're divorced, they can hang each of them in their own houses, and it works cute too. But how cute are those? So yeah, so you can just have them do a drawing, and you can do, like, let's say your kiddos are loving directed drawings. Like, here is a dinosaur directed drawing we did a couple weeks ago when we did our dinosaur unit. If they're loving that, and you want to do like a flower or a garden, or like tools or something for Dad, you can totally do a directed drawing on here. Just use your black, have them do it in pencil, and then I would trace, if they're little, I would trace it in black Sharpie. If they're kinder, they can probably do it. But I would have them do it in pencil first, and then just instead of painting it in watercolor like we usually do for directed drawing, have them paint it with either acrylic or washable paint. And yeah, and then it'll be super cute. So if they're loving directed drawing, and if you're wondering what directed drawing is, sorry guys, what you do is you draw it and you model it each part, and then they do it. So like you would say, okay, we're gonna draw a circle dinosaur belly, and then you draw it, and then they draw it. Okay, we're gonna draw a head, a circle head. Okay, and you draw the head, and then they draw the head. Oh, we're gonna make a neck to connect it, and then you draw the neck, and then they draw the neck. So it kind of goes back and forth. So you're kind of giving them directions on how to draw, hence directed drawing. And then I also found these at the dollar store lately. They're little, what are these? Like a little box. They're in the craft aisle. So yeah, so they're little boxes, and I was like, these would be really cute for Mother's Day. So I just bought like 10 of them since, you know, since I can at the dollar store, right? So I'm like, you never know when you're gonna need them. So I just bought these, and I think we're gonna do these for Muffins with Mom this year, make little jewelry boxes. And then, I don't know if, and we'll use acrylic paint for them. And then, so paint them with acrylic paint. And then I would cover this with Mod Podge, just because it's not, I don't know about this surface. I would cover it with Mod Podge just to make sure it doesn't flake off. And your kiddos can totally use the Mod Podge too, it won't hurt them. So yeah, paint it one day, let it dry, and then let them paint it with Mod Podge. And the Mod Podge, this is like from the Target dollar section, these little ones, but they have bigger ones. And it comes in like different kinds, like there's like a glossy and a matte and a glitter, all kinds of stuff. And then we're gonna put glittery like rhinestones on them. And these I found at Walmart in the scrapbook section. They actually comes in like a 12 by 12 page of them. I just cut them up in smaller pieces. And then another easy, cheap idea, and I've done these before, if you can tell, like these I just had extra in my closet. These you can get at Michael's sometimes. They don't carry them all the time, and then Walmart has them right now. But they're, I wanna say they're like $1 or like 99 cents a piece, but they're just wood frames. And so you could take a picture of the kiddo, or you can leave it blank, or that you can have them draw a picture in it and give it to mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, whoever it is. And they just paint it with acrylic paint, and you're good to go. And it comes with like a little like stick wood stand. So yeah, so if you don't want to do a jar and you love open-ended art like I do, just buy these wood frames, and that's another option for you. And use the acrylic paint on these for sure. And then, everybody's always asking me about babies. Because I know some of you guys have infants or toddlers. So here's a little thing I did with my little guy. So if you have little guys, just totally use those itty bitty adorable hands and feet and just put them all over. This is something I have in my little guy's room. I just literally took it off the wall to show you guys. But, oh my gosh, his feet were so tiny. Look how tiny. And now, like, look at him. He's like giant. So yeah, so just use those little itty bitty hands and feet. And it doesn't even have to be like cutesy, because I know some of us are like, if you have infants or toddlers, and you don't, like, if you're not crafty, like for me, like some of those footprint and handprint crafts, I don't want to draw on it because I'm not a really good artist at all. So I wouldn't want to like make it all cutesy or draw noses and mouths on like little feet, because I think it would look horrible, even though I'm sure it probably wouldn't. But just do like a collage of their little feet or their little hands on a canvas. And this one's obviously bigger, but you can totally do it on a small one too. And sometimes the dollar store has those square, I want to say they're like 3x3 canvases. So sometimes you can even find little canvases at the dollar store. They're the thin ones usually at the dollar store though. Like the, kind of like the size of like a coaster. So yeah. And then, so some of my kids have had some pretty cool teachers. So I'll just show you some of the presents that I've gotten from them and their pictures. And I never do pictures because I don't know, like these I love. I don't know if I'm just an artsy person, but my kiddos always got picture presents, which is fine. Like I love them too, and I love them just equal. I've always loved my kids' teachers. So if my kids' teachers are watching, shout out to you guys because I'm totally loving my presents. But here's one they did for Valentine's Day. So you could totally have them hang up just a banner that says mom or dad or love. And look how cute, this is my little guy. And just put it in a dollar store frame. And that is an awesome present. Here's one that I got when my little guy was in the toddler class. They just took the M-O-M, and he stuck his head through the O. Oh my gosh, you guys, like melt my heart. And then another one I got, this is a Dad's Day present. So obviously, since I live in St. Louis, it's Cardinals, but it says, Daddy's #1 fan, Happy Father's Day. So they took pictures of him in a Cardinals jersey. So if you, like, hopefully you're not Chicago Cubs, but no, if you are, it's fine. It's okay. It's all right. We'll just agree to disagree. But yeah, so hopefully you'll grab your team's logo or football team or whatever you guys love sports team in your town and put your kiddo in that, and then do like Daddy's #1 fan and how stinking cute in a cutesy little dollar store frame. So yeah, so you can do pictures too. So it's totally up to you. So all I know is that you can tell like I love the presents I've gotten from my kids' teachers. So I know they're hard, and so whatever you do for your event in your classroom, whatever you do for the presents, whether it's just a little thumbprint magnet, or maybe it's a thumbprint magnet and a vase, or maybe it's a photo, whatever you do, just know that those parents and those families will love you, and it will melt their heart, whatever you decide to do. So even though it's stressful and hard and kind of expensive sometimes, just know that the parents, even if they don't say thank you, even if they don't cry, which the moms usually do, just know that it totally melts their heart, even if they don't say anything. They'll usually, give you lots of love, but yeah. So yeah, and then, I'll tell you, so for Donuts with Dad, I just buy those boxes of Entenmann's donuts. That way if I have to buy them like 2 days before, it's fine. And then I usually don't go to I also live in the country, so there's no like donut shop, that's not like 40 minutes from me. So fresh donuts are probably out. So you can just buy like packaged donuts. And then for muffins with Mom, I just buy those. I go to Sam's and I buy the packages of mini muffins. And that way they're prepackaged, and they're cheap and they're easy. So yeah. Sarah is saying tiles work really great as coasters too. So I did that one year. So you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you can buy the individual tiles, just buy the square ones. You can paint them, or look it up on Pinterest, because there's some really cool things you can do with tiles. I haven't done that in a long time, but yeah, they're really cool presents too. So you can do coasters too. I forgot about that one. Good idea. Thanks guys, joining in on my joining in on the conversation. Thanks. But yeah, so hopefully you guys got some great ideas and you guys are pumped for your family events coming up, and hopefully my Donuts with Dad goes amazing on Friday and everybody's happy. But you know what always happens? All the dads at the end, they don't want to go to work or wherever they're going. They're like, oh, can we stay all day? Because this is so much more fun, right? Or the moms too. Because I do it at the beginning of the day. That way, in case they do have to go to work. So we open at 8:15. So I'll do Donuts with Dad or Muffins with Mom from 8:15 to 9. So that first 45 minutes. So they eat, they open their gift, and then they read a book. And then I usually have puzzles. Those puzzles out, so that way they can do puzzles around the classroom with their mom or dad, and then we sneak everybody out around 9. So yeah, but all the moms and dads are always like, man, I don't want to go to work, I want to stay and play all day. So yeah, alrighty, well you guys have a great night. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.